Hi, it's Martin and welcome to another video on my Knit365 YouTube channel. Today's video is a long overdue September wrap up, included with October's wrap up, and just a general bit of chatter about what I've been up to in the last 7 or 8 weeks, what I've got coming up for the rest of the year. It's been a bit of a crazy whirlwind month through October. Most of you have been watching the Vlogtober Mystery Knit Along series, so thank you so much if you've watched every one of those and you've stuck with me throughout this year's shawlography. I will show a little update on shawlography in my works in progress section, but I was getting all of my bits together and I'm like, I don't really know what I talk about in these videos. It's been a long time since I did a wrap up. If you're new here and you found me during the Mystery Knit Along, welcome. This is my usual, I say usual, I didn't do it last month. This is my regular roundup. So at least once a month, I like to post a video about works in progress, what I've been working on in the month, any finished objects, any wool top-up stash enhancements, acquisitions, and then just a bit of knitting fun, some plans for the coming month ahead. But because of the Mystery Knit Along, I didn't get to do my September wrap up. So I've been trying to think what I worked on during September and what I might not have shown you all. So I've got a big collection of things and I'm quite glad you can't see what's going on down here because there's a lot of mess. But we'll get to it, it's fine. We'll talk about the things that I've been working on. I'll try to remember whether this was a September or an October thing. I'm kind of going to treat this video as a general catch-up. Let's grab a cuppa and let's just sit down with a group of friends and have a little chin wag about what I've been up to in the last 7 or 8 weeks since I did my last wrap-up video. So you are very welcome if you're new here and this is your first monthly wrap-up. If you are a returning viewer, as always, welcome. Thank you once again for giving me a bit more of your time and for coming back. Our subscribers in my little community have just gone through the roof. It's been amazing. I think the last count was about 3,300, which I think I looked, and this time last year I had like 500. So it just still blows my little mind that there are so many of you that have subscribed to my channel, like the content that I'm creating, and keep coming back to watch my videos. So thank you so much. It genuinely does mean so much to me to have you all here and for you to share in my fibery love, my knitting love, my crochet love. If you're new here, sometimes there's a little bit of sewing. We haven't had any sewing for such a long time. I've got a sewing machine. I bought it at the end of last year. And yeah, I've got loads of sewing plans as well, but there's a lot of knitting and crochet to get through before the end of the year. So this is my wrap up. I'm going to talk about what I've been up to. I'm going to share my plans for the rest of the year as they stand today. So yeah, I hope that you've got a drink. I have a coffee. Quick slurp. It is Sunday the 7th of November, as I said, and this is my little wrap-up chat. There will be a little mention of shawlography because it is now a work in progress that I need to work on and need to finish. Spoiler alert, it isn't finished. It's nearly finished. So there will be future content coming up throughout the rest of November, which I'll touch on at the end. So let's get into it. We always start this video in a small confession style where I talk about my works in progress. Now, I've lost count. I don't know how many works in progress I have. I think it's 17. It might be 18, but it might be 16. It's a lot. Let's just agree on that point. The last time I did a wrap-up video, it was 16. And I've started 2 new things, which we'll come on to, which is why I think it might be 18. But then I'm not sure how I treated the baby cardigans that I was making. Oh, that means it could be 19. Right, either way, there's a lot. I've started some new things since we last spoke in August, which we'll come on to in a minute. And I have plans. I have some finished objects, which I'll share with you in a moment. Oh, no, I've got a few because I've done some baubles. Spoiler. So I'm not stressing about my works in progress. You know me, I'm very open and honest. I get easily distracted. I love the planning of new projects. I love looking for wool and patterns and then buying the wool. Most of my stash is allocated to a project. So I don't have a huge stash of single hand-dyed yarns, for example. I've got some lovely hand-dyed yarns, but I bought them to make a jumper or a cardigan. Everything's got a purpose. So I get easily distracted. So I find some wool, I find a project and I want to get going. But anyway, I'm not going to touch on my works in progress much in this video because I don't really know how many I've got. But what I think I'm going to do is, I've said this for a while now, but I will do this. I'm going to do a separate video, probably later in the year. So this might be a December video. It might be an early January video, but I'm going to do a trip to the confessional with you all. I will get all of the bags out. I'm saying it's 17 or 18 because each month I kept looking back through my book and working out how many I had the previous month and how many I'd finished and how many I'd started. But you know what? When I get them all out, I might only have 10. I don't think so. But I'm going to do that video, I promise, because I want to know how many I've got. There are 2 or 3 projects that are going to get frogged. I'm going to repurpose the yarn. And there are things I'm going to do 2022 and finish all my works in progress. Don't we all say that as we're planning in the new year? I genuinely feel like I have a lot of things that I want to finish though. And Mark keeps talking to me about his Argyle sweater. If you are new here, I'm making Mark an Argyle tank top using Intarsia. I'm not sure what video it's in, but it is the thumbnail of one of my previous monthly wrap-ups. So if you scroll back down through my video list, you'll see the grey and cream Argyle sweater. Go and have a look at it. I'm in love with the project. It is beautiful. Even if I say so myself. I knit a row and I'm like, oh, and I have to stop and look at it. But then I started doing other things because of the babies that are coming. And yeah, he's like, where's my jumper? I'm like, January? I'm not going to get to it before the end of the year. So there are things that I want to finish. So I will do this wrap-up video. But for today, we're going to go with 17. Let's just pick a number. Finger in the air. I have 17 works in progress, which I think is one up from last month. I don't know. Anyway, I've got a lot. So I'm going to talk about the things that I've worked on this month. I have a finished object, but I have 3 finished objects, but I can't show you one of them. So I've got one in lieu to show you. You've seen this before. This is a little cardigan for one of the babies. We have 2 little babies due at the one is due on Christmas Eve and the other is due the first week of January. So I'm making lots of little baby items, and we also have a 3rd baby due at the end of January because one of our very good friends is having a baby. So I've been making cardigans, and in the previous videos I've shown the cardigans that I've made. This is the Vertebrae Cardigan, and I'll pop the details on screen because I can't remember the pattern designer off the top of my head. This one you've seen before, it's a grey one. I have made one of these in brown, but I don't have it with me in the house because one of our other friends, who is also friends with a lady who's having the baby, I took the cardigan to show her to go, oh, look what I've made, it's so cute. And then I left it in her house. So I'm seeing her next weekend and she's going to bring the cardigan back, which is fine. But I'm going to show you off this one. So imagine this, but in a brown. I think I showed it off in my August video as a work in progress. So I've definitely finished one thing, which is super cute. So I've got a grey one done. I've got a brown one. I'll come on to another grey one that I'm doing now. So that's a work in progress. So then that'll be 3 little cardigans, one for each of the babies. My other finished object, if you've watched my Vlogtober videos, I lost my train of thought then. If you've watched my Vlogtober videos, you will have seen that I made some baubles in one of the episodes. And very badly organised, I'm trying to now find the bauble that I made. And if I can't quickly put my hand on it, I'm going to just grab 2 baubles. They're living in this bag. I found one of them. There's the ballerina. So I've done a ballerina bauble and... Nope, I can't find the other bauble. I've done 2 baubles, I promise you. There is video evidence in one of the Vlogtober videos. So I've done 2 baubles. This is part of my bauble along. So these are, this is a pattern by Arne Carlos. They did for Rowan. And it was last year, I think, they did a bauble along. So you'd make a bauble a day throughout December and then add them to the tree. I wanted to make some. Mark has talked to me for months and months, if not years and years, about making baubles for the Christmas tree. And I was like, yeah, that's a great idea. But like, he asked me in December when we're decorating the tree. I can't whip up 25 baubles in December. So at the start of the year, I decided I was going to do the bauble along and I was going to make 2 baubles a month. I am currently 6 behind. I think maybe 8 behind. I've got a lot of baubles. They're living in this bag. This is my London bag by Gem of The Little Grey Girl. If you are new here, I have a love of Gemma's bags. They often make an appearance. This is the medium bag and it has the wool, the needles, and all the baubles that I've made so far. So I think I did 2 during Vlogtober, which were my September baubles. So I think I've got to do October and November, but I think I also need to do August's. It's fine. They're going to get done. Once I finish my shawl, I'm going to be on baubles and baby blankets, which we'll come on to in a minute. But I love them. I love the colours. The colours are this kind of yellowy. It's meant to be mustard. You can kind of see the footstool. It's kind of a yellowy, and then we've got the teal. So they're kind of meant to be flat colours. So we've got the teal, which is great. We've got the cream and we've got the grey. Lovely little Christmas tree there. The yellow's a bit more mustardy, greeny than I would have liked, but I'm loving how they're knitting up. So I've got a massive pile of baubles. I'm a production knitter, so I like to do things all at the same time. So I'm carrying on with all the baubles. I'm going to knit them all. Then I'm going to steam them all to block them because they're steam blocked. Then I'm going to stuff them all, sew them all up, and then do the crochet chain. So that will feature in a separate sort of project vlog video at some point during December as I finish the baubles off and take them from flat construction into finished item. But I've done 2 baubles. So for this video, I appreciate this is a combined September and October video, and the only things I have to show are 2 baubles and a cardigan. Excuse me while I hang my head in shame. Okay, enough of that. It's fine. You know me. If you've been here a while, I don't get stressed by things like this. It's only knitting. It'll all get done. It'll all get finished at some point. So I'm fine with that. I've got a lot of things that are nearly finished, kind of. So we'll have a bit of a whip through at the end of the year and we'll get through a load of finished objects. So baubles and cardigans, that's the only finished objects I have to share with you. Hey ho. But that means there's lots of finished objects to come in the future. So I will share those with you. So on to works in progress. What have I been working on? Let's just get this one out of the way from the beginning. I'm not going to show this off. There it is. This is my shawlography shawl. I have got, small spoiler, I've got this much left on the border. Sunday the 7th of November, it will be finished today. Mark is going to London for a couple of days with work, so I'm going to drop him to the station after I finished filming this video, and then I'm going to come home and I'm going to knit on this. So I don't have that many finished objects, but like in October, I've knit a shawl with brioche. I know. Can we polish the halo for that? That deserves a polish the halo, doesn't it? So yeah, so I've done a huge amount of knitting on my shawl, and this will be finished. This will be a finished object in the next wrap-up video, for definite. And I just love it, honestly. It's been such a fun ride and a fun experience. There's so many techniques in here that I've not done before. More we'll talk about, I'll talk about this more in my wrap-up video. So you've obviously, most of you have found me, or a lot of you have found me because of Vlogtober. which has just been amazing. And you've been so encouraging with my shawl about how I've approached the videos and how I've shared my techniques with you and my hints and tips and all that kind of thing. And it's been so lovely to get to meet lots of new people and talk about my shawl. So there will be one more Vlogtober video to come, which is a Vlogtober wrap up. I've started filming it. I've been sharing my progress on the final step. Of course, I can't do that video until I finished, because then we need to sew in the ends, we need to wash it, block it, and then of course we need to style it and kind of do a bit of a final wrap up. So that is a work in progress that I'm going to continue to work on in November. And hopefully that one is on its way to getting finished. The next work in progress that I have been working on, that I'm not getting very far, I started this pre-Vlogtober. I cast this on in my introduction to Vlogtober. I was in London. I know I cast this on at that point, and I said, I'm going to do a third baby cardigan. That's it, folks. I got this far. Is this all right? I've done all the raglan shaping. I've created the fronts. I've created the lovely little raglan sleeves. I've put the sleeves onto waste yarn, and I've started the body. That's it. So this is another Vertebrae cardigan that will match this one. So the brown one that's not here is for our good friend Saskia. And this grey one is for one of the, either the niece or the nephew, and this will be for the other niece or nephew. So yeah, I need to finish this. This is one of those just sort of mindless. It's now just back and forth to come down on the body, and then do the fronts and then on the sleeves. So that's another work in progress that will be finished hopefully in November. Everything else that I'm going to show you now is all on hold until the shawl is done. So I want to finish this, because then that means I've done 2 baby cardigans for each of the babies. So I've made 6 cardigans, and then we'll come on to the blankets in a moment. So that one is another Vertebrae, and that will be finished also in November. I'm setting myself up now, aren't I, saying that's going to be finished in November and that's going to be finished in November. Baubles wise, the tree is going to go up first week in December. So in theory, I need to finish all the baubles by the first week of December. Can someone come and help me with my knitting? Do you want to move in? Someone come in, we'll have like a little bauble factory. Oh, that could work, couldn't it? Could have a bauble factory. That would be great fun. I'm not sure how Mark would feel about that, but there we go. So that's another work in progress. And then the other main one, which is kind of stash acquisition, because I don't think I've shown this off, so I will show it now, but it's also work in progress, is all of my West Yorkshire Spinners baby yarn. Now, if you have watched one of my podettes, you will have seen this, because I went to Ammonite Yarns and I took you and I showed you around the yarn shop and I showed you what I've been up to and what I've been buying. This is all the wool for the baby blankets. So again, you may have seen in one of the Vlogtober videos, the nieces were here to sleep for the weekend, which was just the best fun, and they brought their blankets with them. So I'm making blankets for the babies. It's kind of a thing now in the family that I make them an heirloom style blanket that they can keep and grow old with, is how I like to think it will happen. And the pattern is by Martin Storey for Rowan. It was a mystery knit along that Martin did 7 years ago now, because I think it came out around the time that I wanted to make the first blanket for niece 1, who is now 7 in December. And there are lots of different squares that make up kind of a mystery Afghan style. And the blankets will be using 2 of the patterns. So this is one of the patterns with this lovely sort of lace effect with the lovely triangles. The other one then is very similar. It is a lace effect, but it's almost like a little sweetie, which you will see in a future video. I don't have one of the sweeties. Again, production knitting. I want to do all of the squares with this lace pattern, because I'm on a roll with that lace, and then I'll do all the squares with the sweetie pattern. Nephew 1 is due first. He is due Christmas Eve, so I'm working on the blanket for Nephew 1. So I've done some grey and some blue squares. So I have made 4 squares, and I have a 5th on the needle. So I don't know what the maths is. Whichever one of you are good at maths, I'm on the 5th square of 12. So yeah, that's not bad going. I'm nearly halfway. So my plan, I worked on these during October, and I think I might have touched on it during Vlogtober at some point. If I'd got to the end of the week of the mystery knit-along clue and I'd finished the clue, then the rest of the week I spent doing squares on the blankets. So nephew 1 is having these colours. Excuse the rustling. So we've got this lovely, so it's all West Yorkshire Spinners Bo Peep, double knit. So it's a 52% Falkland wool and 48% nylon, because it's machine washable. And I just feel like it's just very practical for new parents. If anything happens with the blanket, it can just go in the washing machine. If you can hear a noise in the background, Mark put the dishwasher on before I was recording, and he promised me it was going to be quiet, and I think it's just draining. I think it's okay. So this is Raindrop in this lovely blue. This is Tin Man in the grey, and I can't remember what this one's called. It's shade 0859, I think. I want to say it's Puddle. I think it's Puddle. So nephew 1's squares are going to be those 3 colours, which I think are just lovely together. And niece 3 is having hers in Piglet, Tooth Fairy, and Carousel. So again, Bo Peep, DK, so they're going to look lovely together too. So I've got all of my wool, and then it's got a lovely cable border that kind of ties the whole thing together. So I've got a lot of wool to turn into blankets. I'm getting about two and a bit squares per ball. So I've got plenty of wool. I'm not going to run out, and I just love how they're turning out. And then they get stitched together. I've got a little schematic for how they go, and then each of the squares, I can't finish the blankets until the babies have been named, because each square will have a knitted square. Yeah, so they've got a few names, but they haven't decided yet. When niece 1 was born, they named her before she was born, so I could do hers. But the niece 2, they had 2 choices, so I wasn't able to finish it. But I'm really loving, they're very quick. They take me, I say they're very quick. It's about an hour a square if I concentrate and I don't pick my phone up and look on Instagram. So I'll have all the squares finished for nephew 1's blanket in November, definitely. Nearly finished on the shawl. The rest of November is going to be baubles and blankets. Oh, that's a nice name for an episode, isn't it, in December? Baubles and blankets. Welcome to Baubles and Blankets with Martin. Maybe? So that's another major work in progress. And I'll be super happy when that is finished. And I'll be super happy when the baubles are finished. I kind of got a bit bored of baubles now. Hey ho. Right, then more works in progress that I have been working on. So also living in this bag from Gem of the Little Grey Girl. This is one of the extra large bags. So this contains all of the skeins for a sweater for me. This is my Beauceron sweater, and I worked on this in September because I wanted to try and put as much of an effort in September as I could, because I knew I wouldn't work on this in October. I'm not as far as I wanted to be. I wanted to finish the body and I haven't. So pre-September, I had done all of the yoke and the pattern on the sleeves. So this is the Beauceron by Vincent by Delz. And by Delz is his Instagram name, I think. Vincent is a dyer and pattern designer with his partner Max and Les Garçons. I'll pop their details in the description box below. And I've done a lot of work on the body. I've got about 2 inches left to go, and then I need to do the ribbon. So I'm so close to getting the body done. However, what I did need to do, I've done a bit more knitting than what you're able to see. I got down to about here when I went to start it, and I think that's how you'd seen it in maybe the July video. And I didn't like the tension. My tension was off, and I basically ripped it back to the pattern and then I went up a needle size, and then I've knitted again. So I have kind of knit a little bit of it twice. So it's so close to being finished. So we've got this lovely little slip stitch pattern that slip stitch spine that comes down the side of the jumper, and the same on the opposite side. You can't see it, but it's going to go down the sides. You have the lovely sort of slip stitch spine that mirrors the slip stitch in the top. It's so super squishy, and I just want it finished now. So I've got a couple of inches left to go, and then I'll do the ribbon. So I do just need to try it on. Once I've done those 2 inches, I just need to try it on and make sure it's at the right length, and then do the rib. And then the sleeves, I've done the patterning on the sleeves, because you put the sleeves onto waste yarn here, and then you do the body. What I did when I did the yoke is I put them onto the waste yarn. I finished the pattern on the body, and I went back while I was in the rhythm of the slip stitch pattern. I went on and I did the sleeve caps. So again, I just need to attach the grey yarn to this now, and then just knit the sleeve. So I want this finished this side of Christmas. So this isn't going to be a November project. Again, this is kind of mindless knitting now, because it's just in the round. It's not that mindless, because every other row I have to do a slip stitch to create the spine that runs down the side. And I don't want to, it's not cinema knitting, because I have to keep looking down and working out, am I slipping that one? I forget, I can't remember 2 rows. So I want to get this one done in December if I can. This is made in West Yorkshire Spinners, the Croft DK. This is 100% Shetland. I had this for Christmas. People wanted to know what to buy me, so I asked them for gift vouchers for Almanac Yarns, my local yarn shop. And then I bought the wool to make myself a jumper. For me, that's the perfect Christmas present. Buy me wool and I'll make my own clothes. I love that. So I want to finish this side of Christmas if possible, so I can then say to my brother, thank you for my Christmas present. I finished my jumper. So I'm going to keep trying to check in with this throughout November and December, so that I can try and get that off the needles this side of Christmas. And that was on my target list for this year. So I did a kind of a 9 and 9 on Instagram, the 9-box grid of the main projects that I wanted to do this year, and that was one of them. So I'd love to try and get that finished. And then the final work in progress to share with you is an old whip. Now, I've got this out of hibernation, and there's a story, but I'm going to have to undo it. So there's a bit of a story with this one as well. So this is my flax sweater, and I am making this using Woolly Knit Aran. It's 100% wool, pure British wool, spun in Yorkshire, and it is natural grey is the colourway. It is lovely. It smells really sheepy, and it's really rustic. It is a little bit itchy, but I think when it's had a wash and a soak, that should sort itself out. But at the moment, I wouldn't wear it without a t-shirt, but it's not something that I could wear next to my skin. I don't think I'd need to have a t-shirt on with it, because it is a bit rustic. However, this is one of the many fabled 16 or 17 works in progress. So this is the flax sweater by Tin Can Knits, and I thought this jumper was about a year old. Hang heads in shame again. This jumper is over 3 years old. And I know it's over 3 years old because on one of my social media memories, I use an app called Time Hop, and it pulls all your social media feeds together and then shows you posts and photos from previous years. This popped up on my feed earlier this week, and I had just cast it on. I'm excited to start a new jumper 3 years ago. So it's been languishing for 3 years, and I went to the cinema this week with Mark to watch a movie called The French Dispatch. It was brilliant. Bonkers. I didn't really understand what was going on half the film, but I really enjoyed it, weirdly. And I don't mind knitting in the cinema, as long as it's a really easy project. I think I've talked about it in previous videos. If it's just knit and it's just round and round and round and round, I'm happy to knit while I'm in the dark, because you don't need to see the stitches. This is on a 5mm needle, so it's nice and chunky, and it's just knitting in the round. So I did 2 hours of knitting, but there's a line in my knitting. I don't know if this is going to show up on the camera. Here you can see already, there's that line. So there's a line here, which now I know that this project has been sitting on the needles for 3 years. I borrowed the tips for something else, so it was just sitting on needle stoppers on the end. It had just been sitting in a project bag for 3 years. See, you can see where that line is. And I think what's happened is it's just sat there, and the stitches have kind of got a bit misshapen. It's not the tension, although I did wonder about that has my tension changed in 3 years? Because above and below the line, the stitches actually look very, very similar. So I think my tension is broadly the same. I think it's just where these stitches have just been sat on the cable for 3 years. I don't know, it's just they've kind of lost their shape a little bit. So whilst I'm going to have to frog 2 hours of knitting, I'm kind of feeling like it's not a bad thing, because I went to the cinema, I wanted something easy, I didn't have anything easy to take with me. Like, I couldn't have taken one of the blanket squares because that's lace knitting, and you've got to be, I don't know, I was going to say you've got to be crazy, but you've got to be something to take lace knitting with you to the cinema. I didn't want to take that because it's 4-ply yarn. I didn't say earlier, that's a 4-ply cotton, if you've not seen that yarn before. Rosario's it's a Portuguese brand. I bought that from Beautiful Knitters in London. Again, 4-ply yarn on 3mm needles. Can't be knitting that in the cinema. That's way too small and fiddly. So whilst I'm going to have to undo everything that I've done, I think in the long run it's for the best. I think it will probably block out. Some of you are probably shouting at me now, don't undo it, don't undo it. I think it will block out. And it just needs, because if I give it a stretch, it does kind of sort itself out. And I'm sure it would block out. However, I've got another 3 inches to do on the body, plus the rib. And what I don't want is to do that extra knitting and do the rib, block it, and then realise that it hasn't blocked out. Because then I'll see the line. And I'll know the line is there, and I think the line is quite noticeable, and I know I won't wear this, and it will just be a waste of wool, a waste of jumper, and I won't do it. So my plan, and I will hopefully do this in November, I'm going to undo it, and I'm going to actually go back above the line. So I'll undo it back to here, but I'll probably go a row or 2 above it, so that I'm undoing that line completely, and then I'll just redo the knit. So I'm going to be much happier if I can do that. And I just know, spend the half hour, 40 minutes, maybe even an hour now to fix it, but means that I'll have a project that I'm happier with. And I think, yeah, I'm not going to do that for the next couple of weeks. So if any of you have an alternative suggestion, I did think about blocking it now while it's on the stitch holder and seeing if that would do it. But I don't know, I just feel like blocking's not going to necessarily do it. But let me know what you think, please, because what I'll do is I won't take the needles off and just rip it. I'll put a lifeline in. So when I finish my shawl, I've got a 120 centimetre cable that my shawl is currently on. So I will I'll go around and I'll pick each of the stitches up, put those stitches then on the cable, and then I'll just undo it, and then I'll just reknit it. And I think a little bit of surgery now will be better in the long run. And then once that's done, you know, I did, where's the stitch marker? So I did that in 2 hours in the cinema. So, do you know, I've probably got like 5 hours of knitting and the body's done. It won't take me that long because the great thing about this Aran wool and a 5mm needle. But yeah, not really happy, but I think that's my own fault for letting it languish in my stash for 3 years. And I love the little design. So it's got this little garter stitch sleeve. Most of you have probably seen the Tin Can Knits pattern. So it's going to be a super squishy, cuddly jumper. I love the colour, very natural, very neutral to wear with most things. So the sleeves will take me a little bit of time because obviously it's not just knitting every round. You've got to remember to purl every other round. But I think I'm going to try, and rather than put this back in the naughty corner or back in hibernation now for the rest of, I don't know, another 3 years, I'm going to try and do some surgery on that. So that could be like my every other Monday, my non-work day. I work a 9-day fortnight. So my every other Monday, that could be a Monday project. You know, I wake up first thing on my day off and I'll just do the jumper, get it back to the state that I can then just pick it up and knit. So I want to make some progress on that. So watch this space. And I think that's it for my works in progress. 2 jumpers, baubles, shawl, baby cardigan. That's a lot to be working on in November. But hey, you all know I'm a little bit obsessed with knitting and crochet and a little bit crazy. So yeah, what are you working on during November? What are your plans for the rest of the year? So I feel like these works in progress, these are my plans between now and the rest of the year. So I want to finish my shawl, tick. I want to finish the baby blankets, tick, that's 2. I want to finish my Beauceron sweater, that's 3, tick. And I want to finish all of the baubles, that's 4, tick. So I will write myself a little list, I think, of those 4 things. I've got 4 projects that I want to do between now and the end of the year. And I'm sure that can be done. The shawl will be finished this week. The Beauceron, I'm nearly done on the body. The baubles will be the priority along with the blanket squares. Stay tuned, folks, to see how I get on. Yeah, so I am a little bit crazy, as you know, but hey-ho. And as I said in so many of my videos, this is all completely stress-free. It's just knitting, it's just wool. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If I don't finish the baby blankets, the babies are going to be newborn. They're not going to be able to use the blankets. So do you know what? If it's the end of January before the baby blankets gets done, it's fine. If I don't finish my jumper by Christmas, it's okay. It's only my jumper. So I'm very chilled out. I'm very relaxed about what I'm working on and my projects. But I've got four big things that I want to work on. I have got some stash acquisitions. We've bought some wool, obviously. One is a very quick, I've just bought 1 ball of wool. This is Rowan Alpaca Soft DK. This is in cream. So I bought this to go with my baubles. I bought the right amount of wool, so I'm not going to run out of wool to make all the baubles, but I don't have a lot of cream left. And if I just quickly show you, because I've been trying to alternate, I've been doing them quite randomly, so I'll just randomly go in the bag and see what colours come out and see if that works. You know, the cream really stands out against the colour. And there's some, so like this one, I chose the yellow, but to do the ballerina, I really needed her to be in cream. Otherwise, she wasn't going to stand out. This is more of a Scandi style. So the grey with the yellow, that's okay, because that's kind of low contrast. But actually, for that pattern, that's all right. But I am going to run out of cream. So whilst I've got enough wool overall to make all of the baubles, some of the patterns are coming up, like there's a car coming up. There's a few others that I can't remember, but I need cream. So I've had to buy another ball of cream in order to do some of the future baubles. So I've got another ball of this. So that is stash top up, but is essential in order for me to finish the bauble project, because you all know that there would be an excuse. Oh, I can't finish my baubles. I've run out of cream. That will be an excuse when Mark says, where are the baubles? I go, oh, I haven't got any wool. So I bought a ball of that. And then the other things I bought, this is exciting. I might need to move the camera now, bear with. Right. You all know my love of Toft and my love of the Toft patches. If you have watched, if you've been here a while, you'll remember hopefully that I did a Toft video a few months ago explaining why I learned to crochet and all about my love of Toft. Toft have these patches and I'm obsessed, as are lots of other Tofters. I don't know if that's a word, I've just created it. Tofters. They create these patches and I want every patch, and they were never meant to be a collector's item, but people start collecting them. And I've got all the patches so far apart from 3. Toft did an exclusive on the Create and Craft TV channel, shopping channel, where you could purchase yarn and patch. So you know what's coming, don't you? So I have bought Evie the Chihuahua and Natasha the Sloth. So I have 2 more patches to go with my patch collection. And that does now mean in the whole of the Toft universe, there's only 1 patch that I'm aware of that exists that I don't have. And that's a dodo, but I don't know what the name of the dodo is. But I bought some, in order to get the patches, I had to buy the wool, of course. So I've got the pattern for Natasha the Sloth. Excuse the rustling. Bags on the floor, no more rustling. So I've bought some Toft Aran. So we have 2 balls of the fudge. We have a ball of the camel and we have a ball of cocoa. So these 4 together are enough wool to make Natasha the Sloth, and that will be a large animal. So most of my menagerie, for those of you who've seen them, are so big, they're made in double knit. This will be much bigger, almost a 1/3 size larger again. But actually, because we have babies come in, I love to make Toft toys for babies to go in nurseries and things. And our very good friend Saskia, who I know doesn't watch these videos, it's fine. So she won't see this as a spoiler, but I'm going to make Natasha for Saskia. So the nursery is wild animal themed. It's all browns, creams and neutrals. So she's going to look amazing in the nursery. So I have Natasha and I have the wool to make her. So, see, I was just going to say, oh, I might do her during December. See, this is why I'm not finishing anything. No, I won't do her during December. The baby's not due until the end of January. So that is a January project. Once I finish the other things, the 4 things, then I can go on to Natasha. Rustle again, sorry. I should have thought about this previously, shouldn't I? Bags on the floor. And then, yeah, Eva the Chihuahua. So I've got the pattern cardigan, and this is in double knit. So we have 2 balls of camel in double knit, and we have 2 balls in the oatmeal. And yeah, go back and watch the Toft video if you're interested in hearing more about the patches, because I talk about all the patches that I've got. They're basically, so Evie is a member of staff at Toft, and Tash is also a member of staff at Toft. And yeah, each of the staff members have their own patch. And if you go to a show, so like you'll see, if you go back and watch the Yarndale video, Toft were exhibiting there. I went, we did show and tell. Mark and I took some of my Toft creations, and we had a Rachel Bedlington Terrier patch. So you kind of get them by going to meet them, meet the staff. But Toft were kind of acknowledging that not everyone can get to a face-to-face show. So they enabled you to kind of, if you bought the yarn and the pattern, they gave you the patch. So one of my aims for next year, I talked about this in that Toft video, one of my aims is to make all of the makes that go with the patches. So I started that. You can kind of see he's on the bookshelf. There's that little green thing there. Her. I was going to say he. That's a her. That's Kerry the chameleon. And in previous videos, I've shown off Joanna the lobster. yeah, I've made a start on making all of the creatures that go with the patches. So I'm going to do Tash is next up in January, because that's going to be a great gift for Saskia's nursery. So I bought some stash. I've topped my stash up, but it's fine. I haven't bought any other wool for knitting yet though, although I have bought something secret for Christmas. I've ordered a Christmas Advent thing, Christmas Advent box by Le Garçon, Max and Vincent, and Amy from La Bien-Aimée. It looks amazing. It doesn't arrive until November, and I'm having it for Christmas as a Christmas gift off Mark's mum. So when it arrives, it's going to get whisked away, and I'm not allowed to open it until Christmas Day. It's fine. But I don't need any more wool, do I? I've got plenty of wool. I've got plenty of projects. I haven't got enough time to make any more things. So yeah, just a small bit of stash top-up acquisition. I'm looking, and the mess now isn't on the island in front of me. The mess is now mostly on the floor, which I'll need to tidy up before I edit this together, because Mark will be like, is all that wool laying there? So I think that's it. We're at 45 minutes or so. This is about usual then. If you're new and haven't been part of, watched one of my roundups before, that's kind of the usual format, you know, works in progress, confessions, finished objects, general mutterings about all things fibery. Yeah, I've got plenty on and to keep me busy. I haven't had much holiday this year, genuinely. It might seem like I'm always saying, oh, I'm on holiday, or we're away doing this, but I generally haven't had that much holiday from work. It helps that I have my non-working day, so I don't work every other Monday, so I don't need a lot of time off. So like dentists, hairdressers, appointments, I tend to try and schedule them for my non-working day, so I don't take holidays. So I've got loads of holiday booked off in December, which I'm really excited about. We're going to Hamburg. Oh yes, we're going to Hamburg in the first week in December. So if any of you are aware of things that we should be doing in Hamburg, please let me know in the comments below. I already know about a knitting shop. Loads of people on Instagram, when I posted that I was going to Hamburg, told me about the knitting shop. I think it's called My Local Yarn Shop. I've got the name of it anyway. I'm super excited to do that. We're going to see Wicked. I have a bit of an obsession with the musical Wicked. I've seen it 36 times, and I've booked to see it 3 times in Germany. Yes, I know I need help. It's in German, but I've seen it enough times to know what the story's going to be. But it's a new production, different costumes and characterizations and techniques and stuff. So I'm going to do that. But I'm really excited to do some German Christmas markets, and my Toft Advent I'm going to be doing during Vlogmas, but we're away for the first bit, so I'm going to have to take my Advent with me to Germany. Although I did say that to Mark, and he's like, how much room is that going to need in the suitcase? I don't know. But it's going to have to come, because I can't start Vlogmas and not start Vlogmas on the 1st of December, can I? I need to start vlogging. So we need to make that work. So yes, we've got Hamburg coming up, and then I've got loads of time off the rest of December. I'm finishing on the 16th, I think, of December for Christmas. I'll work the bit in between Christmas and New Year. I'd rather have time off before Christmas. So I've got loads of time off coming up. So the things that I need to finish, see, I'm rambling, but the things I need to finish, like the blanket squares, if I haven't finished them by the time I finish for Christmas, I've still got like 2 weeks to go before the baby's due. So that'll be making up and borders and blocking squares. And so I'm very chilled out about the things, but I'm glad actually talking to you, because I was in my head, I was like, oh, I need to finish that. I need to finish that. So if I can think of those 4 things I need to finish, I think what I'll do is you can all hold me accountable. So if you see me talking in one of these videos about knitting something that's not one of those 4 things, please feel free to come into the comments and go, excuse me, what are you doing with that project? That is not one of the 4 things you committed to finishing. I need to be held to accountable. I am sometimes like a kid in a sweet shop, as you know. So please keep me accountable if I'm working on something that I shouldn't be. But yeah, I hope that you have enjoyed a bit of a catch up. We've had some finished objects. It's fine. There's a lot of things that I want to work on though. Coming up on the channel, I will have my Vlogtober wrap up when I'll show off my shawl. and I will have my introduction to Vlogmas. So Vlogtober was all for the knitters and it was all my mystery knit along. Vlogmas is going to be a lot of crochet because I'm taking part in the Toft crochet along for Advent again. So we are making a bird this year, I believe, but I'll do an introduction to Vlogmas. So another 2 videos to come during November. My secret project that I trailed throughout some of my Vlogtober episodes is actually super exciting, and I was interviewed by Irina of Fibre Chats, and I'm really excited to have been interviewed. And yeah, it went so quickly. It was a great 50 minutes. And that video premieres on Thursday, the 18th of November at 5 o'clock UK time. Irina and I will be around for the premiere, so we will be live chatting over on Irina's video. I'm going to pop the details in the description box below so that you can go to Irina's channel. My video is already there, premiered, so you can click to be reminded, I think, for when the video goes live, and then come and watch it with me. We'll watch it together and we'll chat in the comments. If you can't make it on the 18th though, it doesn't matter. The video, once it goes live, it will be there forever. So you can go back and watch it whenever you want. But if you happen to be around at 5 o'clock UK time on the 18th, come and chat with Irina and myself. And yeah, we talked about why I started knitting, my love of knitting and crochet and planning and vlogs and YouTube, and it was great. I had such a fun time talking to Irina. So that's another video, not mine, but hopefully you'll all enjoy hearing me chatting with Irina. So a few videos come in now over the next couple of weeks, and then we're going to get into December and we'll get into Vlogmas, and then we'll be back to at least a weekly video, maybe 2 videos a week. Because, of course, there'll be a bauble video as well as the Advent video, and you get the gist. Plenty of content to come. I just have to find time how to fit work in around all of my crafting, but hey-ho, there we go. Right, I'm going to keep this under the hour. We're at 53 minutes-ish. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to have a slurp of tea. My coffee's gone cold. I've been chatting for a long time, but I've had such a fun time sharing all the things I've got up to. It's quite a lot of knitting, that shawl especially. And it shows, you know, this channel is the Knit 365 blog. This is me trying to knit a little every day. And that shawl especially shows what you can achieve when you do a little bit of knitting every day. Now, granted, there were some days I was knitting like 3 hours a day and I had a bad finger. My right hand. My left hand was the problem last year. My right hand is the problem now. Pain's all gone now. We're fine. But yeah, like 3-4 hours of knitting a day. You could do a shawl a month. You know, so I could finish all of this if I just put the same effort that I put into my shawl into everything else. Think of what I could achieve. The world is my oyster, as they say. So yeah, thank you. Let me know in the comments below what you're working on. Let me know what you're excited to finish or what you're planning to finish before the end of the year. I bet lots of you are doing Christmas makes, so let me know what you're making for family and friends at Christmas. I love chatting to people in the comments. And as usual, if you're on Instagram or Twitter, please tag me in your pictures and your comments. It's lovely for me to be able to see the other side of the camera and see who you are and what you're working on, because it's great, the support that I get. So I'd love to be able to support you guys back, and let me know. So tag me away. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it there. As usual, we'll end the video. Give us a thumbs up, click on the subscribe button if you've liked what you've seen today, and then you will get notified of all my future videos. There's a lot of stuff to come between now and the end of the year. But thank you so much once again for being here. As I said, I'm really, really grateful for all of you subscribing, watching, commenting, giving me a little bit of your time. It's lovely and makes it so worthwhile for me recording these videos when I get to chat to you all. So I hope that you're all well. And until we speak again, happy crafting.